What is unfolding in the battlefields of Ukraine. It's been 5 months since Russia started its invasion into the country. The conflict has played a major role in the worsening food crisis around the world. But in a first, Russia and Ukraine have held direct talks since the month of March to try and relieve the current global food crisis, which has been caused by the blockading of grain exports from the Ukrainian seaports along the Black Sea. The high-stakes meeting, which took place in Istanbul, involved the Ukrainian, the Russian, the Turkish and also the United Nations officials. The meeting is said to have lasted for well over 3 hours, after which the officials of Ukraine and Russia agreed to meet again in Turkey next week, where a breakthrough is expected. The United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has said that he is hopeful that both Ukraine and Russia will reach a formal agreement to free up grain exports through the Black Sea.
Of course, this was a first meeting. The progress was extremely encouraging. We hope that now the delegations are coming back to their capitals, and we hope that the next steps will allow us to come to a formal agreement.
The Turkey's defense minister also said that he was very upbeat about the grain talks, further signaling on how he was optimistic that a final agreement on exports could of course be announced sometime next week. Now, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky in his evening address outlined the progress in grain talks and also further expressed gratitude to Turkey, which is trying to broker an agreement on a safe transit to deliver the Ukrainian harvested grains out of the Black Sea ports.
We are indeed making significant efforts to resume the supply of food to the world market. And I am grateful to the United Nations and Turkey for their respective efforts. The success of this story is needed not only by our state, but without exaggeration by the whole world.
The experts have warned that the global food crisis, which has been exacerbated by the Russian blockade of Ukrainian exports, could actually strengthen Moscow's position, further asserting on how Russia is only interested to achieve a softening of sanctions.
Russia is not that much interested in making any concessions, as it wants to get concessions from the West. So there is a kind of a trade, a kind of a bargain, and Russia wants softening of certain sanctions. First, and second, there is the problem of Ukrainian ports security, because they are mined in order not to let Russian troops to attack Odessa and some other ports in Ukraine.
Now, Ukraine is one of the world's largest exporters of wheat, corn and sunflower oil. But shipments across the Black Sea have been blocked by Russian warships and mines that Kiev has laid to avert a feared amphibious assault. And also, to make matters worse, these negotiations also come on the heels of accusations by Kiev that Russia is trying to export stolen grain from Ukraine. Both Russia and Ukraine have said that they have made some considerable progress in the talks, but they are firm in sticking to their demands. On the one hand, Russia wants to search the ships to ensure that they are not supplying weapons. On the other, Ukraine has said that it wants a solution that does not actually threaten or create threats around the Black Sea region. Ukraine estimates that up to 25 million tons of grain is currently blockaded in its own ports. Now, according to reports that have been released last month, nearly about 47 million people face the threat of acute hunger this year. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.